The DC5 Acura Integra, or as we Americans know it, the Acura RSX, a car that was born in the early 2000s, at a time when Honda was still riding high on the massive success of their VTEC-powered cars like the Civic Si, the DC2 Type R. The DC5 definitely came in with some seriously big shoes to fill. And while it didn't immediately gain the same cult status as its older siblings, it's a car that has become a hit in the Honda community. Let's crack open the history books here and figure out why the DC5 deserves its place in the halls of Honda greatness. From its debut in 2001 to the cult following it's built over the last 2 decades, this is a piece of Honda's legacy. A legacy that balances practicality, reliability, performance, and of course, VTEC.
VTEC! Double A! Shit! A! A!
To understand the DC5, you've got to step back to the late 1990s. Honda was killing it. The NSX was rewriting the rules on what a Japanese sports car could be. The Civic Si, the EM1, was a front-wheel drive hero, and the DC2 Type R, well, it was the best handling front-wheel drive car in history. So when 2001 rolled around and the world saw the debut of the DC5 Integra, or the RSX in North America, at the 2001 North American International Auto Show in Detroit, the expectations, well, they were sky high. This was supposed to be the next big thing. The RSX was marketed as a premium sport compact aimed at buyers who wanted something a little more refined than the Civic, but still had that Honda edge. Masayuki Matsumoto, the project leader for the RSX, had a simple goal: make a car that was faster, more refined, and more grown up than the DC2, but still fun to drive at its core. He wanted a car that could appeal to die-hard Honda fans and newcomers looking for something sporty, something comfortable, something fun. The DC5 was built on a new platform. It was larger, it was stiffer than the outgoing DC2. It was a bit of a departure from the raw, lightweight feel of the older Integras in the 90s Hondas as a whole, but that was intentional. Honda was trying to mature the Integra into a more refined car, while keeping its performance roots intact. Let's talk about the real star of the show, the K-Series engine. If you've been in the Honda scene for more than 5 minutes, you've heard of the K20 or the K24. The engine is the backbone of the DC5 and one of Honda's most iconic power plants ever made. The K20A in the Japanese market Integra Type R and the K20A2 in the RSX Type S was a 2-liter, dual overhead cam, VTEC-powered inline-4 that made between 200 and 220 horsepower depending on the trim level. This engine was a game changer for Honda. It took everything that made the B series great and it cranked it up a notch. More displacement, more revs, and more power. The VTEC system in the K20 was more refined than previous engines, offering a smoother transition between the low and high lift cam profiles, but it still packed that signature VTEC crossover sound. The redline, 8,400 RPM in the Type R, making this one of the highest revving 4-cylinder engines in a production car at the time. Why is this engine so special, you might be asking? Well, for one, it's bulletproof. The K-Series has earned a reputation for being one of the most reliable, one of the most tunable engines Honda's ever built. You can slap a turbo on it, throw in some cams, and this thing will make 400 horsepower all freaking day long on stock internals. It's insane for a naturally aspirated 4-banger that was never built for boost. But here's the thing, the K20 was also built to rev, and revving to the moon is what makes this car so darn fun to drive. You can keep it pinned in 2nd or 3rd gear, ringing out every last bit of RPM, and it feels like the car is just begging for more. It's the kind of engine that makes you fall in love with driving all over again. Now, let's talk the DC5 versus the Type R. Depending on where you lived, you got a very different version of this car. In the US, we got the RSX, while Japan got the hardcore Integra Type R. Let's break it down. The base RSX came with the K20A3 making 160 horsepower. This is the version most people think of when they picture the RSX, and while it's definitely a fun car, it's the tamest of the bunch for sure. It's got VTEC, but it's a watered-down single-cam VTEC system. No limited slip, no aggressive cams, just a reliable, commuter-friendly Honda that looks pretty good. The RSX Type S was where things started to get interesting though. This was powered by the K20A2, making 200 horsepower and coming with a 6-speed manual transmission. It also got stiffer suspension, larger brakes, and a more aggressive overall setup compared to the base model. This is the RSX that enthusiasts in the early 2000s flocked to, and it quickly became a favorite in the Honda tuning scene despite being heavier than its predecessors. Now the Type R, a Japan-only car, the real gem of the DC5 lineup, it was never sold in the US, but it was the purest expression of Honda's performance philosophy at the time. Equipped with the K20A, the Type R made 217 horsepower and came with a factory LSD. It was lighter, faster, and sharper than anything else in the front-wheel drive Honda lineup at the time. Honda's engineers didn't just throw a more powerful engine in though, they gave it a full makeover. Stiffer suspension, upgraded brakes, and even lighter body panels made the Type R a genuine track weapon straight out of the box. So one of the best things, in my opinion at least, about the DC5 is it has this split personality. On the one hand, it's a practical daily driver. It's got a nice interior, enough trunk space to handle groceries or gym bags, and it's comfortable enough to drive every day to work without breaking your back. The leather seats in the Type S are a nice touch, though they are a little slippery for performance driving, and Honda's build quality and reliability mean these cars can rack up hundreds of thousands of miles with minimal issues. On the flip side though, the DC5 is also a serious performer. Take it to the track and with the right setup, this thing will hold its own against much more expensive cars. The K20 loves to rev, and the car's lightweight chassis makes it feel nimble and responsive in the corners with great turn-in response. That's what makes the DC5 so special. It's a car that can be your daily driver, your track car, and your project car all at the same time. No, it's not the fastest car in the world, and it doesn't try to be. It just tries to be fun, and that's why people enjoy it. No one is going to leave their DC5 stock, though. The K-Series engine is one of the most tuner-friendly engines ever made, and the DC5's chassis is no slouch either. Whether you're looking for more power, better handling, or just a more aggressive look, there's no shortage of parts available right down at the link below on our website available for the DC5. Intake, header, exhaust is one of the easiest ways to squeeze more power out of the K20. These basic bolt-ons will not only make your car sound better, but will also give you a healthy bump in power. If you're serious about tuning, you're going to want a Honda K Pro to bring all these mods together. It lets you adjust VTEC engagement points, increase the rev limit, and optimize fuel delivery. It's basically the cheat code for making your K20 engine perform that much better. Now, suspension mods. The DC5 benefits greatly from coilovers or lowering springs, though with the age of the struts, you're going to want coilovers. You'll get improved handling and a lower, more aggressive stance. Add in a stiffer rear sway bar, and you've got a car that's going to carve up back roads or mountain roads with ease. Braking-wise, the stock brakes are okay, but they're probably worn at this time. If you're planning on hitting the track or just want more confidence when spirited driving, upgrading to performance pads and rotors is a must. Wheels and tires. Of course we're talking wheels and tires. Nothing changes the look more than wheels and tires. Go with something lightweight, RPF1s and TO3s and some sticky tires. You're going to get better grip and a cleaner look. So where does the DC5 or the RSX or the Integra or whatever you want to call it fit into Honda's legacy? It's not the most hardcore, it's not the fastest, and it didn't quite reach the cult status of the DC2 Type R, but it's still a car that deserves respect and is enjoyed by enthusiasts. It strikes a balance between being a practical daily and a weekend warrior. With the K20 engine at its disposal, it's got all the tuning potential in the world, and even in stock trim, it's one of the most fun front-wheel drive cars you can buy. Whether you're just starting your journey into the world of JDM cars, which this is a great starting point for, or you're a seasoned Honda enthusiast wanting a new project, the DC5 is a car that won't disappoint. It's the last of the Integras, kind of, sort of, there's a new one, but it's earned its place in Honda's Hall of Fame nonetheless. So that's the DC5. It's a car that showed you could have it all. Practicality, performance, and of course, a whole lot of beat-down. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have a DC5 or you're thinking about a DC5, go ahead and click the link down below to get some wheels for it. If you have one and want to add it to our vehicle gallery to help others dial in their fitment, you rock, please do that. Link down below as well. Let us know what car we should talk about in the next video, and thank you so much for watching.